In 2004, Vauxhall released their best ever looking car, which was the Astra J. And straight away, a team of designers popped down to the range to get a whole load of new pencil crayons so they could do some doodles of what its replacement might look like. And amazingly enough, 5 years of scribbling away and flinging paper aeroplanes at each other, they only came up with this. Half a decade's worth of disagreeing and flinging ideas at each other until they came to a single conclusion. The replacement car must be dull. Looks are subjective, but only to a degree. They went from one of the best looking Astras to quite possibly the dullest Vauxhall ever. Surely the designers must have known something we don't. They were bang on trend with what people wanted at the time. They wanted anonymity. They wanted a car that was silver or grey or white, and this fits that. It can't really be lack of design that makes this resemble a Mark III Megane from the front. This actually makes the Volkswagen Golf look exciting. As exciting as a weekend away in Vegas with somebody else's money. Surely the worst replacement for a car since the Ford Scorpio. Apparently influenced by the Vauxhall insignia, which they hadn't even made at the time. They dubbed this sculptural artistry meets German precision. Whereas I think it's more like scrotal utility eats bratwurst in prison. Enough of that. It's not a bad looking car, it's just not really a looking car at all. It is simply a car designed to appeal to the majority of people, that would blend into the background and have the visual appeal of a grey sky. This one, as you can see, is the estate version, which came a year afterwards in 2010. Estate cars are better, they always are. Estate cars look better, they do better, and they're longer sometimes. This is 11 inches longer than the hatchback. 11 inches, that's significant. To a lady, 11 inches is about that big. Maybe that's why they get backed into walls. And with this extra length, it does become quite a practical car, because the boot is long. It's not very wide, but it is long. If I pull the seat up like that and drop that down there, we have a flat loading area, which may well be long enough for me to stretch out next to the dog's bed. Let's try it. Not bad at all, actually. My feet are dangling out the edge of there, but if I decide not to take the dog on holiday with me, I can go horizontal and I'll be fine. So the Astra J does double up as a camper. Really, the majority of these cars did get sold to fleets. For the travelling salesman of the UK to rack up many 1,000 a mile in complete anonymity and boredom. Can I do press-ups in the back? Yeah. I'll only do 2 though. This car was a sales success. Of course it was. It's a Vauxhall Astra. It's aimed directly at what the majority of people want from a car of this kind of size. In fact, 68,000 were sold the same year this one was sold. That's one car for every 1,000 of the UK population bought one new. The rear legroom is pretty good, which is surprising being as how long the boot is, and the headroom also quite good. Now this is getting a bit boring. How can we turn the facts into something interesting? Oh, I know. It is possible to have limo-like space in the back. 56-year-old man that for some bizarre reason doesn't drive himself anywhere and relies on his mother, who only needs a little bit of space up front. The kind of lady that likes to drive like this. You see them about, don't you? When the inevitable happens and this old lady mistakes a lamppost for junction 42 on the M6, the occupants will be quite safe. Because yes, this car does have a 5-star safety rating by NCAP. Of course it does. Are you the kind of person that when you walk away from your car in the supermarket, you have to have a glance back? chances are you won't be driving one of these. The only reason to turn around and have a look at it is to see if you're getting to like it or not yet, or so you can remember where you've parked it, because when you come out you will struggle to notice it. The interior is a much more interesting place to be, which is great because you're going to spend a lot more time inside it than outside of it, so this styling that we have in here is more relevant. Besides the door cards looking like a stormtrooper's fancy dress outfit, the rest of it's actually quite good. It's made with decent materials. All of this is rather pleasant to look at. I mean, there are way too many buttons, but a button is better than a display. And it does have a display when you turn the ignition on, which is there, telling me that Radio 4's on, naturally.
They're between a rock and a hard.
It is full of decent features, like the clocks that do a full cycle to make sure they all work, and this warning just there, letting me know that the back door is open, which is a great safety feature because I could have gone all the way to Doncaster with that door open like that. Everything in here is solid. That is easy to read and easy to understand. Some of the nicer models will have been fitted with a leather-bound steering wheel rather than this horrible rubbery plastic stuff that's all falling apart. 6-speed gearbox, places for cups, places for a boiled egg in a bag. Seats are reasonably comfortable, but with very, very little option to make yourself even more comfortable, and no lumbar support, and a shite carpet. Shite, impossible to clean carpet. One of the things that will definitely have appealed to buyers of new cars was the cheap tax. This one, £35 a year. Pretty much down to the stop-start system that it has, that, well, it just switches itself off when you come to a stop, so you don't idle in traffic. You can disengage it by just pressing that button there. It won't make any difference while the engine's off, but you just press that button there. Meaning you can pay the low tax, but still sit outside the school with your engine ticking over, clogging up your DPF, and making that horrible kind of sickly smell that diesels make when they're left to choke on their own vomit. This car was built to a budget, so we can forgive it for its nasty carpet. But what I can't really forgive it for is the paint. The kind of paint that's basically one layer over the top of its zinc coating, and that's it. Meaning that you get bits flaking off everywhere that look unsightly and prone to rust. This car was built in Ellesmere Port, along with all of its other Astra friends. No doubt by now I will have already annoyed a few people that really like the Vauxhall Astra, or just like Vauxhall generally, or just like car reviews that don't express any kind of opinion. But fear not, because you're going to be the people in the majority that buy these, like men who like football, and ladies that don't mind their husbands in football t-shirts. I'm no one to criticise or judge, of course, and you are the majority. Therefore, you're right and I'm wrong. The Vauxhall Astra has and always will be an everyman car. It's not there to impress anyone. It's there to simply do a job. Does it do the job properly? And the answer is yeah, it most definitely does. Because it drives okay. And it's pretty good on fuel. And it's safe. If you buy a car because you want a car, it's a good choice. If you buy a car because you want something really nice to look at, buy a painting. If you buy a car because you want something exciting, buy a motorbike or a classic car. You don't buy a brand new Astra, as somebody did with this. This Astra has an awful lot going for it, really. I don't like the visibility out the front and the blind spots everywhere, but we have these blind spots to improve safety, apparently. If for some reason you really want one, you can go out and find one without having to pay over the odds for it. You could even find one in the colour of your choice, so long as it's within the colours that Vauxhall provided in the first place. Now this one has a rather tatty looking front bumper from motorway miles, stone chips, etc. And it's been resprayed, and it's not a particularly good job. But it might have started off looking like a good job. But silver's very difficult to match. And actually it would be cheaper and probably quicker to just go to a breaker's yard and buy another bumper off a car in the same colour than just to repair it. It's not to be cherished particularly. That's the whole point of a car like this. It's designed to be used and then discarded once it's no longer economically viable to keep. Fairly recently, I talked about the Mercedes C-Class C220 and talked about how it's a bit like an efficient worker without trying to look smart or impress anyone. And this is exactly the same kind of thing, except that it's a bit more disposable. So, the Vauxhall Astra J is a bit like a really good agency worker. You can use and abuse them when you don't need them any longer. You just say, I don't want you today. And there's no contract. Can it do the Blackstone Edge 6th gear challenge, I wonder? I don't know, I really want to slow down here actually. We're bogging down a bit. I'm going to say, for what it is, this is an excellent car. It's just that if I was having a party, I wouldn't invite it. Email from Vauxhall Astra. I believe you've had a party. I didn't get my invite. No, because the word is invitation, not invite. For a 1.7 litre diesel, it goes quite well. It's just that the gearbox doesn't allow for quick changes particularly. And just like fixing a pair of socks, I need to pick holes in this in order to be completely and brutally honest. And the honest truth is, as good as it is as a car, it is dull. Not just to look at, but to drive as well. The steering is dull. It does steering, but there's nothing about the steering that makes me want to operate this particular wheel in front of me. It's a bit of a chore to steer. It's a chore to change gear. It's a chore to look at. It simply does not float my boat. It does not butter my toast. It does not. It's just a whole load of does nots. But the most important thing that it does is the most important thing. But the one thing it can do is honestly the most important thing, and that's to be a safe, reliable, practical car. Here is a simple but rather positive conclusion. And it's about friends. Some friends are exciting, they're mysterious, they stimulate you. You want to spend time with them. I think you'll always have somebody else who you may consider as being a bit of a hanger-on that's reliable. And at some point in your life, a lot of these friends will disappear for whatever reason. And that one friend that you never paid too much attention to is still there when you happen to need a friend. It's that. Don't assume that position unless you are a 78-year-old lady who's very short, and then simply discard it once it begos, and then simply discard it once it begos. Why do I keep saying begos? I don't mean begos. I mean, let's start again. It does not blow my trumpet. It does not restring my guitar. It does not fill my pint of beer up.